This is Trig Identities part number 24, and the next two videos, which are this video right here, and the next one, which I will record very shortly, aren't about all the things that every trig teacher should and usually do teach their students. No. This video and the one I'm about to record very shortly are about all the things that many trig teachers won't teach you. So pay attention. Now, what is this all about? Well, this is about the tangent of A plus B. Do you remember the diagram I drew way back when in the early part of Trig Identities? I showed you angle A and angle B, and I told you to add them together, and we found the cosine of A plus B, and later on we showed you how to find the sine of A plus B. You remember all that? Okay. Now we're going to find the tangent of A plus B. Now let's see how much trig you actually remember. When you're dealing with a tangent line, and you know what a tangent line looks like, and we're going to be talking about that in the next video. Okay, so you know what a tangent line looks like. Okay, now, here we go. What is the formula for tangent? Well, when you have a right angle triangle, it is the side opposite over the side adjacent. Now, if you'll remember, the side opposite is usually the sine of an angle, and the side adjacent is usually the cosine of an angle. Okay? Therefore, the tangent of A plus B is actually equal to the sine of A plus B divided by the cosine of A plus B. Alright. And then you look at this humongous formula right down here. And you say, well, what is all this nonsense? Okay. First of all, what is the equation for the sine of A plus B? You should know this. We covered the law of cosine. Well, we covered the law of cosines. We covered the law of sines. We showed you the sine of A plus B. We showed you the entire equation and how to derive it. So this top piece right here, just follow my line here. If you follow this finger, all this up here is the sine of A plus B. That's what this is. Okay? Pay no attention to this down below for just a second. Don't pay attention to this. Just everything right up here, right where my finger is, that is the sine of A plus B. If you don't believe me, you can look it up for yourself. You can look through my trig videos. You'll find out that's the sine of A plus B. Now, what about the cosine of A plus B? Where's this? It's right down here. That's where you get that. Now, what is all this gobbledygook down here? Okay, we're going to divide each term in this equation by the cosine of A, cosine of B. That's what we're going to do. This term is going to be divided by it. This term is going to be divided by it. So is this, so is that. That's what this is all about. As you'll see, this is cosine A, cosine B, cosine A, cosine B, so on and so forth, all the way straight down the line. Alright. Now, why are we doing this? To cancel out terms. Okay? Now then, let's cancel out a few terms, shall we? Alright. That looks like cosine B, doesn't it? So does that. So this term and this term disappear. Alright. Now doesn't that look like cosine A to you? Sure does. Doesn't that look like cosine A to you? Of course it does. So this term and this term cancels each other out. Now, doesn't that look like cosine A, and doesn't that look like cosine A? That term and that term cancels out. Doesn't that look like cosine B, and doesn't that look like cosine B? Yep. Those two terms cancel out. Now, can any of this cancel out? No. Because the sine of A and the cosine of A are completely different. The sine of B and the cosine of B are completely different. Now, if you're asking me how any of this is possible, I'm going to show you how this works in the next video. Okay? I'm not going to show you that right now. All we want to show you right now is that this term cancels out, this term cancels out, all of this cancels out, and then you're left with an equation. Now what equation are you left with? Very good question. Alright. Now give me just a moment here. I got to find my eraser. Oh, what do you know? My eraser disappeared again. We'll just have to use... Oh, wait. We got Mr. Eraser. Look at this. We got Mr. Eraser. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Let's get rid of some terms, shall we? I like doing this a little slower with people, mainly because I deal with students that really don't pick this up as fast as others. I know you can rewind the video, but that is such a hassle. But hey, if you don't mind the hassle, go for it. Now, doesn't that look a little prettier? Well, of course it does. Now then, can we make this even simpler than what we've got it right here? Well, first of all, we can do this. Now we're adding this fraction, and we're going to take 1 here. Remember, all those terms canceled out, so that becomes a number 1. Okay? That term divided by itself becomes a number 1. So that 1, and then we got this. Alright? Now you say, well, that looks a lot better, but can we make this look even better than that? Of course we can. Here's how we do this. What is the tangent of A? So, well, I don't know what the tangent of A is. Of course you do. It's the sine of A divided by the cosine of A. Okay? Now remember, we're dealing with unit circles here. Okay? If we weren't doing this with a unit circle, we'd really be messed up. But we're dealing with a unit circle. Alright? So the sine of A divided by the cosine of A becomes the tangent of A. Alright, so we can change this first term right here, and that's exactly what we're going to do, into the tangent of A. So now we got the tangent of A right there. Now, what are we going to do with this one? Well, what is the sine of B divided by the cosine of B? Well, that's going to be the tangent of B. Hold it. This is looking a lot prettier, isn't it? Tangent of A, tangent of B. Okay, now what is the sine of A divided by the cosine of A? Well, that happens to be the tangent of A. So, that looks even prettier, doesn't it? It does. Now what about this sine of b over cosine of b? Okay, you're dividing the sine of b by the cosine of b. What is that? Why, we just answered that. That's the tangent of b. See? Now, isn't that a lot easier to read? Of course it is. So what they're saying here is that the tangent of a plus b is actually the tangent of a plus the tangent of b, and that number is then divided by 1 minus. Now, you can't subtract this until you multiply it out. First of all, you have to find the tangent of a. Then you find the tangent of b. Then you multiply those two numbers together. And then you subtract that final result from 1. Let me go a little slower on this. First, you're going to find the tangent of A. Then you're going to find the tangent of B. Whatever those two numbers end up being, you're going to multiply them together. After you multiply them together, you're going to get some total. Okay? Whatever that total that is when you get finished, you're going to subtract that total from the number 1. That's what it's saying. Okay? Now then, how did we get all this? Okay. You say, well, there's probably some funky illustration from Ptolemy or even from Euclid himself that would explain all this. Well, kind of. Alright, I will show you that in my next video. Alright, so I want you to stay tuned.